Good morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Tracy Earlywine and delighted to welcome you this morning to our online community. Please know that if you are joining us for the first time, that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here with us. How good it is to come together to remember that we are truly magnificent beings. And we come together to love and support each other in that truth, to remind each other when we might forget, and to find ways to open hearts and minds so that we might live our best life. For that is why we are here. So thank you again for joining us. Our guest practitioner this morning will again be Pat Richards. She's joining us from Harmony Center in Whittier. And I also want to remind you that our Claremont practitioners remain available to you during this time. Their phone numbers are listed in our weekly emails. They're also listed on our website, claremontcsl.org. And there is also where you will find our center phone number and the email address for confidential prayer requests. So do allow them to love and support you. It is what they do best. At this time, I want to begin. I want to take us into the meditative portion of our service. So I'm going to invite you to get comfortable and maybe take that deep breath, close your eyes. And we begin with the sound of the bowl. And allow that sound to take you deeply into your heart space, that place where love lives. Reminding yourself that here we remember you and I and Spirit are one.
And I know right here, right now, in this amazing God-filled space, that God is. And God is that ever so delicate breeze that is blowing through your window right now, and the sound of the birds in the trees, and that morning light, and that light that shone through your window and woke us all up this morning. I know that the sounds and the energy and that light is the same light that is within you, that God light, that deep, impressive, amazing light that shines out into this community. And I'm so thankful for this community and for Reverend Tracy and her message that she'll share with us today that will touch each one of us in our unique ways that we need to hear and take in. And I'm so thankful to be part of this Claremont Center for Spiritual Living community, because I know that this community is a strong community. It's like when we all gather up towards the end of service in that big circle that we form, when everyone joins hands. It is that same love, that same energy that is present today. Even though we are not physically together, we are strong. It is a community filled with love and grace and light and kindness. It just radiates out into the universe and sends that energy out and touches all, even here, even now, in this amazingly sacred time. So please join me in saying, and so it is. So my reading today is from 365 Days of Inspiration, the Joyous Living Journal, by Reverend Dr. Petra Welds and Reverend Dr. Christian Sorensen. It's called Listen. I have lain awake at night wishing I could sleep while my brain goes on and on and on about something I can't figure out or don't know what to do about. Hasn't this happened to you? This monkey mind chatter is seldom good for you to be able to come up with anything new or even likely to help us move through whatever we are facing. All it does is stir up more fear, confusion, and uncertainty about what causes us to want to control, figure it out, or just plain give up. But there is a part of us that does know. It is that God-present spirit within. It knows. That knowing is available to us when we get quiet and listen. And we listen to that small, quiet voice within. Everyone hears that still, quiet voice within. It can come to us as a song, a fleeting thought, or a word from a friend. You can intend to get an answer, to open a book, a magazine, or a newspaper. You can even notice the street signs along your way. Pay attention. Don't wait for the neon sign or the flashing arrow. It may not come. But your intuition is always trying to break through. You just need to get quiet and to listen. And in closing, I have a quote from Ernest Holmes. One part of the mind is already in heaven, for there is a place in you and in me that is above confusion and fear, no matter how disturbed our thoughts may be. If we get quiet long enough and listen deeply enough, we shall hear.
Thank you. That was perfect. My title today is Storyteller. And I'll start with one of the very famous opening lines of a story. It says, "It was a dark and stormy night." Jessica is sitting in her living room with the covers tucked up under her chin, sipping her hot cider in front of the fire, listening to the rain and the wind, and thinking how grateful she is to be cozy and safe inside. It was a dark and stormy night, and Frank was startled awake. The howling wind echoed his tumultuous thoughts as he went immediately to his failing business and wondered if, in fact, everything he'd worked for would be washed away like the storm was washing away the dirt in his yard. And Melanie, awakening in the early morning hours, nudges her husband, and in the half-light they smile at each other, for they know that, yes, they still have to fix the hole in the barn roof, but the crops are good. It was a dark and stormy night. It was the same rain, and yet 3 different vocabulary lists, 3 different intentions or directions of a story, 3 different inner starting points. You see, the drama or the difficulty or the struggle isn't in the rain. It comes from within us. It is the story we tell about what that storm means to us and how we think it's going to affect who and how we are in the world. The word storm, the root of the word storm is to turn or to whirl. And a storm is defined as a violent disturbance of the atmosphere. And isn't that what we find ourselves in right now? The midst of a whirling disturbance of the atmosphere. Everything that we have in the past been surrounded by, the activities, the habits, the rituals, the conversations, the days of our lives have been disturbed in ways great and small, in ways we're still discovering. And it's really easy in the midst of a storm, especially when the wind is blowing, to lose our balance, to lose our sense of center, and to buy into the swirl. You know, what Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, calls race consciousness, the cultural or mob mentality that is around us, tells a story that we are susceptible to. You know, we write our own life story, but we are influenced by the writers who came before us, our parents, our teachers, our culture, where we grew up. We're influenced by the stories that are going on around us in our immediate circle and out in the world, and especially this particular storm. There is a pandemic, and it affects every corner of the world. There is nowhere to go to be away from the effects of this storm. And yet, we are not victims of effects. Now, don't get me wrong. There are actual experiences happening, and people are struggling, and there is illness, and there is isolation, and there is room for a greater expression of kindness and cooperation as we all move through this time. But we are not the victims of mob mentality. How we tell this story, whether or not we feel safe in front of the fire as we wait out the storm, or whether we are terrified because we think it's going to destroy everything we have, that is actually a choice. An example of this cultural mentality having an effect on lives, if you go back to the Great Depression, there was a run on the banks because everybody believed the banks were failing. And it was a response, a reaction out of fear. And people took a while to realize that the only reason the banks were failing was because people were making a run on the banks. They had their cause and effect reversed. A few days ago, the same thing happened. Banking systems in the United States, for the most part, shut down for a time as everyone rushed to see if they had received a $1,200 stimulus relief check. The crisis, the urgency, the check it now mentality was a story. You see, that being left hanging in crisis, being left stuck here in this place of, oh my God, what are we going to do? And is it there? And is it mine? And do I have it? That strangulation phase, that's really only used effectively in television. That's when he says, and who is going to be chopped? And then you have to wait for the commercial. Or for those of you that remember, is Bobby really dead? Or was it just a dream? See, some of you remember. The truth is that cultural mentality can carry us along. And when we look back later, we wonder what we were thinking. I will offer the example of the idea that Beanie Babies are collectibles. How many of you still have your very valuable Beanie Baby collection? You see, it's easy to get caught up in the story. And in real life, life continues to flow. In other words, there's always another chapter. When you're telling a story, there's always more to the story. There's no stopping point. There's no sticking point that isn't resolved a few pages, a few days, a few moments, a couple conversations later, or even a few months later. The truth is, the story continues. And what we are called on to remember is that we are part of the writing team of this story. The Master Storyteller lives within us. So I offer you a reading from the Joyous Living Journal called Inner Guidance. If you stop and turn within, you can realize that the most insightful spiritual advisor there is for you is you. Stop running around looking outside yourself for someone else to know you better than you. Your still small voice is on a different frequency that another cannot hear. When you live from a divine connection, there is nothing too big or too small for you to be guided through. The guidance may come through what another may say, what good you might be seeing in the world, as well as your own inner activity. So be open, because Spirit is omnipresent and communicating to you from everywhere. Ram Dass reminds us the message you need is always right where you are. So that master storyteller, that a writing team that we are a part of, the divine inspiration, the ideas and the creativity that comes through us, through each of us, uniquely, is part of how we shape our experience of life. And that experience of life is always shapeable. We can always start a new chapter. We can always let truth be our inner starting point. We're called to let our direction and intention always be for the highest and best of all. If you start out writing a story and you're pretty sure it's going to fail, you've set a direction that maybe you don't really want to go there. If you write a story and you set an intention for a happy ending, you will find ways in which to express that through your vocabulary, through the words you choose that will support that highest and best for all. And that's truly what we're called to do in this life. We are meant to live life abundantly. And even in the midst of a difficult storm, that inner truth, that inner center, that place holds when we remember to go there, when we remember to tune in, when we remember to pause and be still and listen. Our theme this month is revolution. And it's appropriate for this time of year, for spring, and it's appropriate for this event that we find ourselves in the middle of. It is a loss and a new beginning all in one. And the word revolution implies that we are coming around again. We are on this circle of evolution, of becoming. And the truth is, life has worked us, right? We are not the same people we were 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 3 days ago. We are not in the same place. We have grown because of and in spite of all that is going on around us. We are always at the beginning, of a new path, of a new direction, of our best self coming forth in a new way. And so I offer you that it is time to start looking ahead, not as if the rain is going to wash everything away, but as if we are going to begin writing a new chapter, and ask ourselves what we want to write. Ask yourself, what has surfaced for you in this quiet time that you want to remember? What has come up through this process that is something new or deeper or richer that you want to continue? And then ask yourself, what has fallen away in these weeks and months, in this time going by where we've been restricted in our movements and yet freed in our minds? What has fallen away from the daily activity that you do not need to pick up again, that you can simply let go? Ask yourself, what have I learned about my own values? What's important to me? What's essential in my life? What have I learned about my own creativity? What have I come up with in this time that delights me, that's exciting, that sparks my curiosity and my interest and my energy? What have I learned about my own need for balance between alone time and social time? These are the things we will bring with us into our story. This is how we are going to shape the days to come. And it's not too early to start thinking about that, to pay attention, to be mindful, to tune into that spiritual awareness so that our human experience might be richer for it. Ernest Holmes reminds us to seek wholeness above all else. All of these bits and pieces, the questions, the fears, the doubts, the joys, the creativity, the new skills learned, the branching out we've done, all of these things are part of our own wholeness. And this is what we seek. This is what healing is, the revelation of wholeness. So let's write our next chapter with the love and the wisdom of that master storyteller within us. Let's speak of our own lives and our own world with a vocabulary that is loving and kind and supportive and nourishing, that lifts us up into the highest and best for all. You know, we cannot storm the gates of heaven. We do not enter through violent disturbance. Instead, we do this dance between the human need for story and the divine inspiration that gives us the music. So sip your cider in front of the fire of spirit within. Sense the presence of love everywhere, for it is true, it is everywhere. You are nourished by the rain. And remember that you are loved. Namaste. So I invite you to join me in a moment of prayer. If you will, take that deep breath and close your eyes once again. And simply allow that sense of love to fill you up. Letting go of the outside world and simply being here now in this space, this place where the presence is felt, this environment in which love flourishes, this place within the heart. And know with me that this place of love within the heart is a flame that cannot be extinguished. This fire of life continues to light the way for ourselves, for each other, for the world. This place of love and wisdom within is shared by all. And so I speak my word for an outpouring of love and light. For the reminders that allow us to see our way through the storm together. I feel and sense a deep gratitude for all that is being learned and shown in this time, trusting that the difficulties and the sadness and the loss and the growth and the unexpected creativity all work together to bring a new path, a new way forward, a revolution in how each of us lives, so that we might truly tune into the divine in a greater way and express that love everywhere we go. For this love and so much more, I am grateful, so delighted in the blessings already seen and understood and those yet to be. I release my word into the mind of God, for I know that the law will express what I truly believe. And so choosing my words of love and wisdom to write this story of this chapter in my life, in your life, in everyone's life, in the planet, expression of life. I simply let this be, for I know that it is all God, it is all good, and so it is.
Hi, Claremont CSL. I just wanted to send you some love. I see you in my mind's eye. I miss you. And in this opportunity, I get to see you in truth, which is we're still all one, still connected, and still perfect health, perfect peace, love, joy, and a bright, sunshiny day, no matter what. I can change the world with my own two hands and make it a better place. With my own two hands and make it a kinder place. With my own two hands, with my own two hands. I can make peace on earth with my own two hands, and I can clean up the earth with my own two hands, and I can reach out to you with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I'll make it a brighter place with my own two hands, and make it a safer place with my own two hands, and help the human race with my own two hands, with my own two hands. And I can hold you with my own two hands, and I can comfort you with my own two hands. But you've got to use your own two hands. Use your own two hands. With our own two hands. With my own two hands. A beautiful week.
So again, thank you for joining us today. Let me offer you our affirmation. I will say it phrase by phrase, and I invite you to repeat it after me. Today, my story is written with the words of the one mind. Today, my story is written with the words of the one mind. Words of wisdom and joy and deep caring. Words of wisdom and joy and deep caring. I let love write my life. I let love write my life. And together we say, and so it is. So I do have a few announcements for you today. I invite you to join our Wednesday night meditation at 6:15 with Nisa Burrows. There are call-in instructions in the weekly email that allow you to join essentially a conference call with a lovely guided meditation. And if you know Nisa and you've been to her meditations before, you know that it is a very renewing sense of time that you get when you participate. So I do invite you to join in at 6:15 on Wednesday nights. At 7 o'clock on Wednesdays, our Gateway service happens via Zoom. Again, there are links in the weekly e-blast and on our website. And this week, we are welcoming Munir Sheikh, the director of the Banyan Center for Islamic Studies at Claremont Colleges. He will be our guest speaker for Interfaith Night, and he is a delight to listen to. So well worth your while to dial in via Zoom, which means you're on your computer or your phone or your tablet, and we can see each other and comment and talk to each other, or you can dial in on the phone and listen and also participate. So do join us for that Wednesday night at 7. Again, the links are in our weekly e-blast. We have posted some videos, thanks to Sean Peterson. He's done some how-to videos on YouTube on how to maximize our spreading the word of what we do on social media, as well as just for you to keep up with the Sunday talks and any other recorded postings or Zoom calls that we're doing. So check that out. It's on YouTube. Our channel is Claremont Center Spiritual Living. Notice there's no 4 in there. Claremont Center Spiritual Living, some good how-to videos as well as the Sunday talk. You'll find it all in the same place. I also want to remind you that the Cozy Couch Concert Series is continuing. These are New Thought artists from all throughout Centers for Spiritual Living that are hosting Facebook Live concerts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights at 7 from their living rooms. There's a schedule on our website, but there's also a schedule on the csl.org website, our home office website. So check that out. It's great music and great fun. And lastly, I want to thank our production team that is making all of this online magnificent possible. A special thanks to Reverend Jennifer and Colleen for offering their home studio in their beautiful living room, to their practitioner Ray Bunch, who is our sound and video engineer, and to Jeff Harrison, who takes all of these pieces and puts them together into a beautiful montage for our website so that you and I can stay connected. It's a good thing, it's a God thing, and we are so blessed. Thank you all. Have a good week. Bye-bye.